Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk with Angel and Nathaniel, an interview series designed to reconnect with our peers on a professional and personal level. Each episode will feature a special guest from the department. We hope to learn something new about one another in a post-pandemic world. So today's special guest is Jim.
Hey.
Jim, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you today?
We are fantastic.
Welcome. Thank you for taking time out to be with us
no
today.
problem. Happy to help.
Definitely so. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about your role here.
Well, my role here is I'm a commercial agent with AAA Ohio.
Okay.
And what that truly means is any lead that comes into the company from outside, and these can be, contractors, plumbers, electricians.
Okay.
I work to make sure that they're properly insured so that they can go out there and we can make sure that, we're branding our company as a choice for commercial insurance. Also, I take care of, we have, of course, our own list of approved auto repair places. I'm working to make sure that they're covered well and properly. And also, as far as our tow companies, that's another thing I've been working about a year on that.
Okay.
Really enjoyed working to make sure that our tow companies are getting the best rates possible to help make them more profitable.
Sure, that's fantastic. And when you say leads come in, so from an account manager standpoint, if I'm talking to, or if our staff is talking to one of our customers that have an existing auto and home, and we find out that they own their own business, that would be something we can send to you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Good to
So
know.
there's a channel to go through. Come directly to me and reach out, and I do just like what you guys are doing. We'll do an interview with them to make sure that we know what we're working with.
Sure.
So we get them going in the right direction.
Perfect.
Gotcha. So the premise of our coffee talk really is, like Nathaniel said, is to get to know you a little bit better professionally and personally. So we're going to take turns asking questions. So my first question to you is, what behavior or personality trait do you most attribute to your success and why?
I think, I love to complete a task.
Okay.
And-
Check it off your list.
Yep. I'm very driven to make sure that we get things taken care of. Commercial quotes can take, honestly, sometimes 3 or 4 days,
Wow.
sometimes a week. Believe it or not, sometimes a month.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
A lot of paperwork, a lot of research needs to be done.
Right.
And most importantly, you got to make sure that, all the paperwork, because believe it or not, a lot of the paperwork's handwritten.
Oh,
still.
wow. Really?
That you have to fill it out, correct, and
Right.
make sure that we're getting the appropriate coverages, because, these, especially like the tow trucks, they're out on the roads, and, there's risk involved.
Sure.
And we need to make sure that, bottom line, everyone on the road, and we work under constraints from the Department of Transportation.
Right.
Make sure that they're all matched. So it can take a long time, so you have to be patient but persistent.
Right.
And I think that's, two key characteristics that I have that makes me successful.
So I recently heard a quote, patience plus persistence equals perseverance, right? So that comes to play what you're saying, and no stone left unturned. So you
Nope.
make sure that you are, checking off all the,
Yeah.
what is the saying, dotting the I's and crossing the
the
T's
T's.
Yeah.
on all of those.
And most people, whether they're starting a business, which a lot of times I'm, okay, should I get an LLC set up?
Right.
And it's some very basic questions. And
Right.
we were there, and with larger companies, of course, sometimes, they're so busy
Right.
that, if they don't have insurance, usually the process is quicker. But if they just want a better quote, quite often it's 15, 20 phone calls to just set up a time to
Right.
meet them.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of drive time behind the wheels to go meet face to face.
Right.
Because it's something that's really difficult to do over the phone.
Sure.
Yeah, and with the amount of risk involved, you got to know what you're protecting.
Absolutely.
So it's just not like, obviously a house or a car
That's
where you
right.
can throw in the VIN number or you can look on the auditor site and see the year built, but there's a
Right.
lot of information that you don't know. So
Until you get
that-
eyes on it, right?
Right.
Until you actually
And I
physically
mean-
can see it.
Phone's always with me. Picture.
Right.
And, you
right.
just got to document everything.
Right.
So that leads me to one of our more entertaining questions.
Yes.
So what's the best compliment that you've ever received?
the best compliment I've ever received
Yes.
is that I can work with anybody.
Okay.
And this was in a prior position, but I traveled the United States a lot.
Okay.
And, in different parts of the United States, people are different.
Sure.
And
In this room, people are different.
Exactly.
Yes.
But,
Jim's a Bills fan. I'm a Patriots
That's
fan. But we
right.
can still be in the same room working together.
and we're working on it.
Right, we
That
are.
conversion will happen
We're
one of
working
these
through that.
days,
Yes.
You agreed to disagree.
Right. All the time.
Well, that's all right. Change can always happen.
That's
Yes,
right.
it can.
That's right.
For the better.
For the better.
I'm staying on this side of the
I
table.
know. You and your family Cowboy fans.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right. Hey, don't get started. Get back to the question.
Okay, so sorry. Get tracked down football.
That's right.
But what was that question? The biggest thing was, I had a boss that said, you're great. He said, you can go in Manhattan and
Right.
work with somebody and, you can start talking a little bit faster and go.
Yes.
And, you can go to Wyoming and, sit back and, get to know somebody and have a cocktail or
Right.
something with someone to just relax.
Sure.
Before they'll ever talk business. So I thought that was it was an observation they
Right.
made, but I have lived all over the United States, and I think it's been great because I've been able to, help, sell to
Sure.
different people.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to bring up is that attribute is something that probably has helped your success in sales.
Right.
Because you deal with all kinds. Tow truck
Everybody.
drivers to, professional people to different facets of life. So that probably helps you in your day-to-day sales.
I've had doctors I've insured and accountants and garages. They're again, everybody's different.
Sure,
Everybody's
right.
needs are different, but you just the old saying, you got to go with the flow.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That is part of the key to success.
Sure.
Very
Absolutely.
relatable.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that- your experience has taught you that on being able to travel through the different locations, the different backgrounds, the different accents, so forth. So
Needs,
yeah,
That's right. Yep, absolutely. Great. Okay, so if you could snap your fingers and become an expert in something, what would it be? So Jim and I, you might not know this, but Jim and I know each other very well, probably better than most.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think and see if I could answer this question for you. So I'll be interested to see what your answer is, if it is the same as the one I would think.
What would you think?
No.
No. If I could snap my fingers and become anything,
An expert in anything.
an expert at anything, and honestly, life is about work and also home. And if I could ever become an expert in anything, it's something I've always wanted to do that my daughter does. She loves music.
really
She
okay.
took piano lessons for a while, and we have contemplated. COVID sure didn't help things,
Right.
No.
but contemplated getting her back into piano.
Okay.
And I would love to be able to snap my fingers and just say, okay, great. I'm her. I don't know. It's hard to say. We have a very close relationship.
Sure.
She has some disabilities, to keep it short, and but we have a great relationship.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to just play the piano and be able to teach her because it's
that would
something
be
that
awesome.
she absolutely
Is
loves.
passionate about
Right.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Music is that. So what was your answer?
So
gonna
that's actually it. I was gonna say something to do with the arts because
Yeah.
Sarah Ann is his daughter, and something to do with she likes plays. She likes music.
Oh,
so
see.
I totally thought
Yeah.
that something related to the arts would be your
Yeah,
answer.
That's
So,
awesome.
theater, music. I mean, we have we figured it out. We've been to 18 Broadway plays together.
Really?
Most people never do that in their
Right.
life.
No.
But that's her, that's her thing, and we do it together.
That's fantastic.
yes, it is.
That is. So that leads me to mine. So what's one thing most people don't know about you?
One thing that people do not know about me is that my background, when I was younger, I played a lot of golf.
Okay.
To keep it, A lot.
A lot of golf.
And I was a pretty decent player. I played in some small mini tour events. Never did anything worth even shaking my hands at.
But you participated.
But I participated. I gave it a try. But it's something when I have free time, I still enjoy doing, and it's just it's my saving grace. Let's put it that way. It's the peace and tranquility I get when I can go out there and I do it. It's funny, I do it with my daughter too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Have you played in other countries?
Have I played in other countries? Well, that's an interesting story.
We've got time.
Yeah. Oh.
I might know the answer to this.
Yeah, about 6 years ago. Was it 6 years ago?
But that's okay.
4 years ago, I guess it was. We had gone on a trip. It was a life insurance trip.
Okay.
And the award was to Ireland, to Dublin.
Really?
And we went on that, but what I did is I ended up taking a little detour tour and went to Scotland.
Okay.
And then, of course, my wife just wanted, to see castles like that, but I had an ulterior motive. We'll leave it at that.
So it was a gift for his wife to go to Scotland.
Right.
There may or may not be golf courses there.
Right. Castles
That's
next
right.
to the golf course.
That's right, honey.
Hey.
You go to this.
Actually, the funny thing about that is she really did not know, and it was to be a surprise. And when we checked in, as we went there first,
Right.
and when we checked in, they're like, "What's your destination?" She goes, "Oh, Dublin Island." She goes, "No, it's not." and she says, "Yes, we're going to Dublin."
No.
Jim, what is going on here? And then
You got in trouble for trying to be nice.
I tried.
That's great.
But long story short, we had a phenomenal trip.
That's
one to
great.
write home about.
That's right.
Great.
Okay, so my next question to you is, what led you to this career? I think we've already deduced that most people don't, when they're 5 years old, they don't say, I'm going to grow up and be an insurance agent. You usually fall into it.
Right.
There are very few people that, with the exception of one of the people in our agency
that we know,
that
Started
actually
from scratch.
Yeah.
that intended on getting a degree in insurance. So how
Right.
did you get here?
Great question. My background is in telecommunications.
Okay.
And I was in that for 18, almost 20 years of my career. And long story short, this was about 10 years ago when the economy really started to fall.
To turn, yes.
Yeah, and I was given the option by my company to move to Los Angeles or move to New York City. And although I loved going there on business,
Right.
we were living in Atlanta. Atlanta had, at that time, was a very reasonable cost of living.
Right.
And I was very fortunate. My wife, my daughter takes some extra, attention.
Sure.
And she'd been able to do that as a primary job. And I said, I can't do either.
Right.
But those were the two options. So we made an arrangement to leave. I left for 6 months, and they called me back up and said, Jim, we need some help. The accounts weren't really happy. They hired 3 new people off the street and thought they could do what I did.
Right.
Didn't happen.
Can't happen.
Yeah, but I just said, great, I'll do it for a little bit, and which I did, but it had to do something different. And a friend of mine said, hey, insurance is something everybody needs, no matter whether you're in a recession or not.
Right.
And I said, not a bad idea. So I started working for a company. Interesting thing, I worked for AAA
Really?
South.
Okay.
For a period of time, and then came up here, did another venture, with Angel and a couple other people with my own agency. And
Okay.
then we sold it to AAA, and guess what? Here we are.
Yeah, Jim and I are
AAA.
come to AAA as part of an acquisition.
Got it. Good.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about AAA South. Were they an independent agency? Or?
They were an independent,
Okay.
not as broad.
Okay.
Okay.
Not as broad, but it was very, very similar but different.
Okay.
So like most of the AAA clubs, they're the
They have their
meat and
own
potatoes
agencies,
is the
right.
membership,
Yeah.
and
Right.
but the different
business lines. that they
Business
have
lines are
are
slightly different, yeah.
Got it. Well, I understand that completely. I mean, I fell into the same role. I was in real estate and mortgages, so my whole thing was, no one really falls into mortgages either. No
Right.
one really grows up. So I went to school for engineering, and it was one of those things where, well, mortgages are going to always be around. You got to have a house to live in.
Right.
And then when I got into insurance, it's like, what else can I do when the mortgage crisis hit?
Sure.
Everybody has to have insurance, homeowners and auto insurance. So there's a market. There's always going to be something there. They're never going to run out of that. So
Nope.
I understand.
And that's one of
completely.
the nice thing about, that I really love about insurance.
Yeah,
So.
they say that there's, two sure things in life, death and taxes. I think insurance is the third.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
real accurate.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So another one of the fun ones that we have here, and this is one that when we ask this question in our coffee talk interviews, this is one that's been a consistent question that we have. Because Angel and I try to deduce, do our own kind of psychological profile, if you would, and trying to figure out if we can get an insight into a person's, character or, their personality.
Right.
So the question that we have is, what's your favorite TV show? The one that you're always watching on repeat.
Do you know, I don't watch a lot of shows on repeat.
Which is fine.
However,
Sure.
I have two shows.
Gotta have a
that
go-to.
I love lame humor.
Okay.
Lame humor.
Lame
Okay.
humor. I mean,
That should be a genre. That's great.
it really. And there's two shows out there. One is called Neighborhood. I absolutely love the show.
Okay.
It's just funny.
Right.
And then there's also another show that's newer, and now I've got the whole family hooked on it, called Ghosts.
Okay.
I've
And-
seen the commercials for Ghost. Haven't seen it yet, but
like I said, it's sort of, I grew up in Niagara Falls, so you're right on the, crisps of Canada.
Right.
We watch as much Canadian television. And in Canadian TV, it's a lot of British shows.
right.
So, it's sort of like the British humor.
Yes.
When I was young, Benny Hill. Which,
Yeah,
Yes, I
I
was
was
gonna
just
say,
gonna
yeah,
mention.
yes.
I would, and a couple of friends would just laugh and laugh and laugh. But I don't like watching serious things
Sure.
on television. I watch it to relax and laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know you well enough, unfortunately, like I said, to know
Yeah.
that that's something that you would pick because you are professional, but you don't take yourself too seriously. So I think
No.
that your choice of TV shows shows
Right.
that. Also, a story. I am not a fan of bologna, right? And Jim knows this. So Jim, when we worked together previously, haunted me with bologna.
Did you
I
have-
found it in my car, on my windshield, on my
that,
keyboard,
that goes back to lame humor.
and on my
right.
mouse.
These are real pieces.
Right.
I go to
Whole
the group.
pieces of bologna.
Just
so I
randomly
know.
placed around.
Absolutely. It was raining, and I see this piece of bologna on my windshield wiper.
And I think I gave you a thing of Oscar Mayer
Yes.
package
That's
for Christmas
Christmas.
one year.
Right.
That is.
So I am not surprised about
Yeah,
that.
I like. I mean, a good practical joke. Not a mean one, but a good one.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Miscellaneous pieces of bologna
Yeah.
just showing up places
Yeah.
like glitter.
That's
You just
right.
never know
Well,
where
it
you're going to
reminds me
see
of
it.
the
But now you do know the world knows that.
Well, I was just going to say, it reminds me kind of The Office where
Yeah.
he would have his stapler and Jell-O.
Yes.
It was the same sort of thing.
Right.
I never knew when was going to happen or where it was going to be. I always had
That's
to be on the
great.
lookout. Yes.
That's great.
So Jim, last question for me. What's one thing that surprised you about working for AAA? One thing that you didn't expect or didn't know?
Do you know? I think and I'm going to compare and contrast.
Sure.
Working at AAA South and working at AAA here, there was a lot of things that were very similar.
Mhm.
And the similar thing was, how do you position, the benefit of the membership
Right.
and all of the things that go behind it that nobody knows about, but everybody should know.
Sure.
Right.
And I just didn't really realize, even myself. For example, here, we, for a while we did the financing, we did
Right.
the credit card. We didn't have that down south. We have more carriers here. There's a lot of different things that AAA can do for customers, And it's just your job to make sure that everyone knows all of
Right.
the different, and honestly, I have to think about it because there is just so many options out there.
So the one thing that I always say when I'm in training is that we do.
Now, do you train or you're in training?
Both.
Okay.
When I'm in training, is that we're a one-stop shop, right?
Yes.
We don't do anything that a million other companies do. You know, nothing specialized, but we're just best in class.
Right.
And I think, like you said, that's the idea of being an advocate for AAA is making sure everybody knows. I don't think even folks that have been here that are tenured have an idea of all of the things that AAA
Right.
offers. So
And
that's a great
it
point.
makes it good for us to be able to educate ourselves
That's
on
right.
a more regular basis
That's
on
right.
on
You
the
know.
different lines of business that we do offer.
And like the value of car care.
Right.
I mean, again, AAA South, and it was years ago. I was down there. They were just sort of tinkering with, auto care at that. But the value of what's behind, the membership
Right.
and the savings.
And if I'm not mistaken, we were the first club to do the auto care.
Really?
And then it kind of went elsewhere.
Could be. I don't know.
So, yeah, I'll fact check on that, but I think that that's the case. Yep.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, last question, and this is one again that we like to end our interview with. If we can get you to sing, great. If you want to sing, that's even encouraged.
Oh, you know what? I can't sing it because I'll be quite honest. It's in Spanish, and I don't
Okay.
speak Spanish.
Well, that's all right. So
Well, don't give your answer away
Right.
yet.
So, what's one song or artist that you're embarrassed to admit that you like?
Well, I'm not really embarrassed. I guess I am because I don't speak the language. My long story short, and otherwise I'd be talking all day this. But my dad was my idol, my mentor, everything.
Okay.
Beautiful pianist. He could go down in the basement and play. So he used to play a song called "The Girl in Empanada."
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, yes.
People have heard this song.
Yes, I've heard the song. Don't know the words, but the music I've
and
heard.
it's Jose somebody, and it's like from the 1940s or 1950s. But he used to play it, and he could speak Spanish.
Sure.
So long story short, he could sing it. I never learned how to speak the
You
language.
just did a dun,
So I
dun,
did
dun,
that,
dun.
and that's pretty much it.
That's great.
Well, thank you. We'll call that singing.
Yes,
I think
we'll
that
take
it.
technically
Yeah,
counts.
Yes. It's at least the melody, I guess.
There you
That's
go.
right. That's right.
Or harmony, I don't know. Whatever.
Well, right. Well, you did it.
Yes.
Check, right?
And you knew the song. So
Yes, I did know the
So
song.
it's validated.
Yes, it is.
Yes, we understood your Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Well, thank you for being here today,
Well, thank
Jim.
you, Angel.
We
We do
appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
very
Thank you.
much.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Coffee Talk. Please join us for the next episode with Nathaniel and I. As always, everyday people, everyday conversations. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you.